Miles.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maria Stamford. I'm Customer Success Coach here at Supermums, and we are doing our live Q&A for you this afternoon. And I am joined by my colleague and friend, Diane from Supermums in the US. She's our Customer Success Coach over in the States. So I just thought it's very unusual for me to be hosting. So I hope I'm a good host for you, Diane.
You're perfect.
You're doing great. I thought I would kick off with our Q&A session today because we've got our wonderful Rachel Chan, who's our global community manager, who is gathering kind of lots of really valuable success stories for us from all of our trainees. And she's doing a brilliant job by collating all of these stories for us so that we can share and be inspired by them. And we've had a couple of new ones that have gone on to our website today. And so I just thought we'd perhaps have a talk about this. So Ben, who you may know because he's based in the US. So Ben has basically said that he wanted to develop his professional business analyst and agile project management skills to become more confident in his role. He wanted to know how to run discovery workshops and what questions to ask. The content, skills, and confidence he has learned on the course has enabled him to feel confident and to progress in his career. He has since secured a new role as a solution architect, and he loves that flexibility around that role. So Ben is one of our trainees who has kind of gone from that Salesforce admin role, not actually into consultancy, but gone then and progressed to a Salesforce architect.
Right.
So these skills, these consultancy skills, although we talk about them a lot and they can help in different areas, it isn't just necessarily that consultancy space, is it, that they can help with?
Right. No, I think it's more about the consultancy skills is really more about overcoming that imposter syndrome, right? That you might have just because you feel like you need that confidence booster when you're presenting, when you're interviewing. It kind of gives you that extra confidence that you need. And you're exactly right. I think Ben started out in IT and then moved into admin and took that consultancy course and kind of went into all the way up to an architect, So I think that the point of the consultancy course, although it definitely helps individuals that are going to be in that role, but it's more than that. I think it really, everybody we have had and trainees that have gone through that course, they always point to the fact that it's increased their confidence levels, and given them the tools that they need to feel confident when they're presenting, those business analysis tools, project management skills. You can use that no matter what role you're in. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, actually, that was a Salesforce admin. And he kind of has fallen into a consultancy type role and just really doesn't feel confident. Now he's doing his business analysis certification. So he has some of those skills, but that confidence, is lacking. He's not really sure that he's going to be able to deliver, those presentations. And so he's looking into our consultancy skills. I think it would be a great fit for him. And that's kind of an example of, you might find yourself having certain responsibilities, right, that are greater than your role right now. And, you need to build up that confidence. You need to try to get over that imposter syndrome. So, when we talk about consultancy skills, we're not necessarily talking literally, right, getting into a consultancy role. So,
I think it's all around that communication piece, isn't it?
Yes.
How can you build that? Certainly around this, where Ben's obviously talking about discovery workshops, they're not the things that straight away come to mind, are they? But actually building that confidence to be able to communicate effectively and kind of know what questions to ask and how to present and all of those things. They're really key pieces, aren't they, for kind of a broad spectrum of roles within the Salesforce space.
Right. I think you're going to find yourself having, different aspects to your role, no matter what role you're in, where you can use these skills. So again, right, I think it's all about developing those communication skills, knowing how to present yourself to different stakeholders, being confident in your presentation, and really just learning more about taking that that analysis view, right, of the Salesforce system, I guess, and being able to understand the requirements. This is why we always say for a Salesforce admin, if you can have that top line view and that overall view of your Salesforce org, that's great. That's good for your company. That's good for your position. It's good to have that kind of analytical eye, so to speak, on your role, and that will help you no matter what.
Yeah, and I think we know that, don't we, from that 10K talent report. There is that expectation on admins to have that strategic view of the business. And, I think we when you're kind of going into that ecosystem when you're first entering, it is about that technical skill, isn't it? And understanding that and making sure that you've got all those key competencies. But actually, there's then other parts that come under that admin umbrella that you need to start to explore. And I guess, I don't know how you feel about this, Diane, but I would kind of be saying, we talk about confidence a lot in all different areas of, our training, entering that ecosystem, landing that first role, being promoted, career progression, all of those things. But actually, like the chap that you spoke to, it was about him identifying actually that he was struggling.
Right.
And then, okay, what can I actually do about this? What tools can I put into the toolkit to strengthen that and build that confidence? But it's identifying that as a problem first, isn't it?
Right. Identifying, realizing that you probably need to have some of those skills and add those on. I agree. And if you're finding yourself in that position where, again, your confidence is wavering. I think that just adding on these consultancy skills can only help you, right? It can only help you. That's what I say. I'm like, this can only help you in your career progression or with your current, role. So it's all about building that confidence. You get a lot of attention in that, in that course, one-on-one attention, and coaching skills, communication skills, again, taking that, very deep dive into project management. I think, it's about that. And it really is a great skill set for anybody in the Salesforce ecosystem to consider, adding on.
Definitely. And so what I will say, obviously our case studies and our success stories are all on our website, so you can go and view them. They are so inspiring. We get inspired daily, don't we, Diane, by our trainees and our alumni. But something, again, Margaret, she's from the US. So I know that you will know Margaret. Something that I found really interesting, which is Margaret had taken the course to boost her confidence to land her first role and hit the ground running. So having done the course, she now feels 100% confident that she can do the role, but also how to answer interview questions, and feels really equipped with those templates that we supply.
Right.
Interesting, isn't it? Because you don't necessarily associate kind of that consultancy piece again with perhaps interviewing.
Right. I think that's actually, it's interesting because those can really give you the tools. I'm glad she mentioned that because it's so true. It's knowing about what you're talking about, I guess, during an interview, that's kind of helped her to land that role. And this was an example of someone, Margaret, her background, I believe, was in computer science. She had a lot of technical background. But there was that piece missing, kind of that confidence level that she needed. And it gave her that so that she can move into that consultancy role because she needed that, she needed that confidence. So, and I think she directly mentioned too, the templates, that we provide during that course are great. You can take those templates and you can use them and customize them, to your own liking, and it can go to any situation that you're in. So, she really liked the tools and techniques that the course gave her, but also that the confidence to be able to, shine in that interview.
Yeah. And I think also a really good point is, we talk to people about that interview stage a lot, don't we? And how they can build confidence and build a bank of evidence, etc. But actually having insight into what those templates look like and what those questions around the business can be is actually a really powerful tool to be able to take into an interview, isn't it? Of perhaps asking questions around their own business. and what that looks like, so I think it's really it's a really powerful addition, right from kind of that Salesforce administrator to that consultancy piece, all the way throughout that ecosystem. As we've seen, obviously Ben going up to architect, and he'll still be using those tools and those skills. So it's kind of a really broad, it's not kind of in one particular job role, is it? It is a broader kind of skill set that you can kind of apply that across the board, really.
Right. I think it's taking a lot of years of knowledge and in business analysis and project management on Heather's part, Heather Black, our CEO, that is the trainer for that course, and the instructor, taking all her knowledge, right, that she's gone through over the years and putting it into one course, for your benefit. So that takes years to build up that knowledge. So it's really just great material, great techniques, great coaching skills that you learn, and communication skills across the board can be applied to almost any role. So, and especially if we're talking about a Salesforce admin, you're thinking about what's your next step. This is a logical next step to be able to add on to your toolkit.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any top tips for people who are kind of thinking, is this the right next step? Have you got anything that you would be saying to them to perhaps have a look at or research?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we have a really great consultancy skills, test that we can quiz that they can take. I would probably send them, just some information about, what are the skills that you learn? If they're finding themselves in a position that they just, again, they don't feel like they're progressing, or they're feeling like they're going through that imposter syndrome. These are the things that we would talk about in our coaching meeting. I would ask them, what are your obstacles right now? What are you feeling is stopping you from progressing? And then I would talk about what you'll learn in the course. There's a great overview that we have, kind of a video overview of what you'll learn in the consultancy skills course, as well as pointing them to some great case studies like Ben and Margaret. Because I always think it helps when you can relate to someone that's taken the course, right? So no matter what position you're in, if you hear a story from someone else that has gone through that, and perhaps is starting in a position where you are at, it really relates, doesn't it? It helps you relate to that story and think, this might be a good idea for me. So I think, that's kind of what I would focus on if I talk to somebody.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we do speak to people, certainly our new admins that are coming through, and I know that, we'll both do this, you kind of pick up those kind of key, those key kind of skill sets that that will be really good consultants out in that ecosystem. So certainly we're always kind of looking at that, aren't we, to kind of go, okay, this could be actually a route for you. But also, as you say, when you're kind of having that session with somebody, it's about identifying, okay, if that confidence isn't quite there with that communication piece, or perhaps, being really confident with going in, with that technical skill set, and there's just a little piece missing,
right,
then that's where we can actually kind of go, okay, well, this might be a really good option for you, or have you thought about this? So I think it's also that, isn't it, of just kind of looking at where your strengths are,
right,
perhaps where those weaknesses are, and then kind of looking to see, okay, how can I fill those gaps, and what can I utilize? But we do have our consultancy skills course coming up in January. 10th of January is the start date, and it's brilliant because you have a whole bank of kind of recorded sessions that are done by Heather, and then we actually have live sessions, don't we, which are really valuable in that kind of group setting.
Right. And the group is global too, which is great. So you can draw from all your peers too, and all their experience, which is what I like about that consultancy skills class too, as well, is you'll be with individuals of all different, backgrounds and different positions and different roles. So it's great to have that support from everyone as well. I think that they all can draw off of one another. So yeah, the design of the course is great. It's designed to be flexible, kind of work with you, but also have those live sessions that you can take advantage of too.
Yeah, it's really important, isn't it, that peer support, and
think
kind
so
of
too, yeah.
getting that different viewpoint on different projects. Now, I can't see any questions here. Now, I know when we always say that, there's normally a question that pops up.
Right. I think so
Um,
too. Someone
I
ask
know.
a question.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, and then we keep going, but I can't see any questions here. So certainly, if you are watching on replay, feel free to reach out to Diane or myself. You can pop a comment on any of our socials, and we will come back to you. Or you
Mhm.
can actually reach out to us directly. So for Diane, it's diane@supermums.org, and for myself, it's maria@supermums.org. But we can drop some links also in the comments, and we hope that we can answer any questions. So if you do have that kind of niggling question that you don't want to ask live on a live stream, kind of across all the social media channels,
Right.
then you can reach out to us directly. And just come and pick our brains. So we do have a question now.
This always happens, right?
I knew this. So this is brilliant. So I'm so
actually,
pleased.
I know Shannon. Hey, Shannon.
So did you want to go first on this one?
Yes. Actually, the prerequisites of the course, I think this is an interesting one because, you have to have knowledge of Salesforce, I would say, right? So do you have to be Salesforce admin certified? Not necessarily. It depends what your, what your background is and what you've been doing. Because we obviously have a lot of people that are doing Salesforce admin accidentally, right? So they have a lot of experience in Salesforce. So, with the consultancy course, no, not necessarily. And that's why we like to talk to individuals to see if it's a good fit for them, because everybody's coming from a different, background and has different needs. And we want to make sure it's a good fit for you. But it's really an ideal situation for someone who is just, again, wants to boost their confidence, is in that Salesforce ecosystem and is looking to kind of take that next step. I don't know how how you'd answer that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think it's one of two things, isn't it? Either that Salesforce administrator and you're certified,
Right.
or you are an accidental admin and you've
Right.
actually got Salesforce experience and you're
Right.
looking to add this on as an
You do have to
upskill.
know about Salesforce. Let's put it that way. You do have to
Yes.
have some experience in Salesforce, just because we will be, obviously relating everything, back to the Salesforce ecosystem. So,
And I think that's really important, actually, Diane, because it is that broader spectrum, isn't it? So it's not, like when you come and train for admin or marketing cloud, you're that's where you're in and you're learning those technical abilities, aren't you? Those
Right.
technical skills and competencies. But actually with the consultancy, it is that kind of broader view of managing, that
Right.
business analysis piece, project management, communication, those so it's those kind of softer skills that you need to go and build that confidence and deliver really good projects, all that communication piece, isn't it? So I think it's a broader kind of spectrum, isn't it? So we're not going to teach anything around those key competencies of Salesforce or the CRM system.
Right.
That does need to be, that does need to be a requirement, doesn't it? So so I hope that's answered your question, Shannon. And she has said, excellent, thank you. So that's really good.
Yeah.
So I can't see any other questions here.
And just as a side note too, we should probably mention too, for our January course, we will be providing those Sales Cloud and Service Cloud exam certification prep courses. Those are, Trailhead Academy exam prep courses that are provided, and we give a voucher for those too, right, for our January class. So that's part of that class. So, if you're looking forward to getting Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, consultancy certifications, we will, be providing that exam prep sessions, those live sessions for you.
That's a really good point, because that's brilliant value, isn't it? Actually, as part of that for our January cohort. So you can actually work towards 3 certifications, can't you? So you don't go into huge amounts of detail in those, because then it's kind of the expectation is those additional trailheads to support. But it is the business analysis Sales and Service Cloud, isn't it? That you can actually work towards off the back of the consultancy. So again, it is that broader view, but you are still working towards those certificates as part of that learning and part of that training, aren't you? So
right. Just not, more to add on to your, specifications to your skills. So, and it just improves your profile overall. So, you can't go wrong with that. And those prep days, those certification prep days it's live all day. I think it's pretty much a most of the day event. So, and those are offered, by Salesforce only a couple times a year, I believe. So, and there's a charge for those, but it will be part of our January class.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. So a great deal if you can come and grab it and come and join us in January. So as we say, our course starts on the 10th of January, our Consultancy Skills course. And then our deadline actually for that closing is the 16th.
Is it the 16th or the 19th? I know. 19th. I think it's the 19th, right?
I think it might be the 19th.
Right.
I know when we break for our festivities. So if we work to the 19th, so that will close on the 19th. So certainly if you want to come and book some time with Diane and myself, our Calendly links are in here. We'd love to just chat through, as Diane said previously, that consultancy course. It's really great to actually get to know where people are at, isn't it? And at what stage they are within that ecosystem, and then be able to really identify what those benefits of taking that course would be. So we would love to see some of you come and book in with us. But certainly if you are on replay or watching this, feel free to answer, pop some questions in and we will answer those. But I think that's probably it from us. I think we've got one last Q&A session
before the end of the year
2023 next year.
Right.
So that our last one is next week, isn't it? So
join us next week, same time. Same time. Ask any questions. We like to talk. We always talk about this. We love to talk to people. Reach out to us. There's no harm to just reach out and ask any question you want. If you have any questions on Supermums or our training courses or what might be a good fit for you, I know we've brought this up, but we can talk to you about, what might be a good option for you, and why would you consider adding this on, and just go into, all of our different options in more detail, because again, everybody's at a different stage. Everybody has different motivations and goals. So the best way to kind of learn about, what we can offer and how we can support you is to just reach out, right? And book a time to talk to us, and we'd be happy to do that.
Come and chat with us and keep us busy. That's what we like, isn't it? So certainly from our side, the last Q&A is next Wednesday. So if you do have any questions, make sure you've got them ready for us. We always love a live question. So it's always nice answering them after, but we always get really excited when we see some questions pop up. So I'm so pleased that we've had one today. So come and join us next week if there's anything that you might want to ask us or share with us. And perhaps we'll be festive next week.
Oh, could be. That's not, you're right. We're kind of a little drab today, aren't we?
We're not looking very Christmassy at all.
We don't have very bright colors on or anything going on today. So maybe next week we will.
Maybe next week we might surprise you. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and hopefully we get to speak to some of you soon. Okay.
Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Thanks, Diane. Bye-bye.